Page 22, Take My Breath Away. This is in the key of G major, 1 sharp. All the F's are going to be sharp. Make sure you can do the G major scale. We'll start with the right hand and we'll talk about a few things here. A lot of eighth notes, and it's basically eighth notes and a few dotted rhythms here and there. So if you can get those, the rhythm should not be a problem here. You're starting the 4th finger, you're in this position. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Don't forget the F sharps. Second line, first measure, we want to hear the rest. So it's 1, 2, rest. Make sure you're up on 3 then. And you do that some more, and then third line down, they have the move there. You ought to be able to look at the notes and know that you need to move, because you want 4th finger on A, so you got to come up 1, but you got to rest to do it in, so you come up 1. And then the last measure on the third line, the last 2 quarter notes, so it's a 4-5. You're simply moving again, and this is how we're doing it. And then the last line on page 22, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that dotted rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we get some more of that. It's wonderful stuff. Let's look at 23. Second measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Make sure you're lifting up between each of these phrases here. Now, last 4 eighth notes. The first line here. You're in this position. Just stay here. Like so. Second line, 1 and 2 and 3 and see, you have a tied note. The half note's tied to the eighth note. Hang on to it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the F sharp's tied for a long time. So hang on to that until you get to the D, and that's on the and of 3. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then that's tied. And then they say stretch. Don't stretch, just reach down a little bit and here. Let's go over this rhythm carefully because this is important. Second line on page 23. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a lot of tied notes. Now if you're really struggling with that, take out the ties and just play all the notes for a while until you can get it. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 3. And when you get that idea, then you put the ties back in. You just think playing the other note, but hang on to the first one. I kind of drop my wrist sometimes on the note that I'm hanging on to, so I can feel the beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And then you get some more of what we've already had. For the left hand has to stay soft because the melody's in the right hand. You're starting out here, 3-1 here with a GB, and then a 2-4. It's a little awkward, but try and connect them. And then the then an E chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're going to get this rhythm in several places. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and you can use 5th finger on both or 5-4. It's up to you how you want to finger it. This is not a real fast piece, so you can get away with 5-5 if you want. Then the next line, 2. Then you do all that again. Go down to the third line. You're here, and then you're here, and then second finger on the B. We just went up. We just moved here. And now they want you to do 1-3 again. It's alright. And then they're saying 1-5 here. Again, you almost have to because of what's coming up. And And then the last line on page 22 in the second measure for the quarter notes, it's fourth fingers. You can lift up, because of the slurs, lift up between like so, and then you do all of that again. On page 23 in the second line is the rhythm. The same notes you've been getting, just rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. You get in this rhythm until you get all the way down to the bottom. The last measure is here and here. Lift up and move, it's fun. Then you put the hands together very carefully. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and you work it out that way. It's not too hard, I hope. But let's look at page 23 over here. Starting with the second line, this with all the tied notes in there. It's here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. There's a retardando at the end. You can slow down if you want. Just when you slow down, you keep slowing down all the way to the end. You just keep counting slower and slower and slower. And that last note, hang on to that till whenever. It's a feel thing. What do you feel like it? When I play with a metronome, I'm going to hold that G in the left hand 4 counts instead of 2. I'll just double it. You work all that out. As far as the dynamics go, they don't give you a lot. You're starting out sort of soft, moderately soft. That's the melody. The left hand has to be soft. Here. You're going to stay moderately soft until you get up to the top of page 23 at the end of the first line. Now you go up a little bit to moderately loud. There's not a lot of difference between medium soft and medium loud. It's just a little bit. So just go up a little bit. And you're going to stay there until you get down to the bottom of page 23 in the last couple of measures. Now you come back down to soft and slow down. So it ends softly. You get all that worked out. Then you got the phrasing working out. I haven't talked much about the phrasing. Just lift up between each phrase. You got a little bit in each hand here, so watch out for that. Then we add the pedal. Well, as far as I'm concerned, you play the whole thing without pedal, just fine, but they're adding it, so let's talk about it. Now they're showing legato pedaling throughout, but I'd like to hear some phrasing in here, and I'd like to hear some rests. You want to pedal it just like they're doing it, you go right ahead, it's up to you. You just change the pedal after you play the notes. Let the pedal overlap. For instance, if I do the first couple of lines the way it's pedaled in the book, it's this way. Up to you. I prefer to hear the phrasing and the rest and so forth. So I'm going to, on the first 2 measures and anywhere else in this piece that has a similar passage, I'm going to lift the pedal up on the 4th beat because I don't want to hear this and this at the same time. And I want it clean, so it's here. I'm going to lift up on the 4th beat. This is legato. Now I'm going to lift up. First measure of the second line, I'm lifting up with the right hand. And I'm not pedaling those 2 beats. These are clean. And then I'm pedaling again like I did before. for the last 2 beats. And then we're pedaling like we did before. Now here on the 3rd line down, last measure, I'm changing the pedal for the quarter notes, but I'm holding it down for them. I want to connect them. So it's here. And then legato pedal, and then lift the pedal up after you play the notes in the next measure, but don't pedal that measure. And then I would not pedal the 2nd measure either. I want to hear the break in the left hand. Here. And then you can pedal again. Top of page 23, the end of the 1st line, last measure, I don't pedal the 8th notes, lift up. And all of these lines with this type of thing, I don't pedal the 8th notes. Here. Measure okay, and at the end the pedal and the hands come up at the same time, and that's how I would pedal it. It's up to you how you pedal it. That's what I recommend. Take a pencil and you just mark in the pedalings of whatever. I'd like to play this slowly with you to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics of that, I'll let you do that, but let's just make sure we have the right rhythms and notes, and I'll try and do the pedaling as I described it. And we'll see what happens. I'll give us 4 counts. It's a 4/4 time. So go ahead and put your hands where they go. Here, here. 1, 2, ready and go. And 1. 3, 4, hold, 2,